Hey everybody, it's me, Hugh. It's Liquid Lunch. I've got Rose here as my co-host today. My special co-host.
Hi Hugh, it's nice to be back. It's been a long time.
It's great to do the show with you as always, because every time we do it with you, we have the best guests, and we have some really special guests in the studio here today.
Yes.
You want to take it away, Rose?
Well, I definitely like to make the introductions because these are people that are very close to my heart for the work they're doing in the world, and also just being such heart-centered people. We have Dr. Ibrahim-Karim with us. Welcome, Ibrahim, and his daughters, Doreya and Laila. And it's the first time Ibrahim, we've had you on the show a few times before.
Times, yes.
Yes, and you're an honored and treasured guest here always.
Well, thank you, Rose.
And it's the first time we've had your daughters, some of your family members at the show as well. So that's quite special too.
Yes, today is a special day.
It's a very special day because you are the founder of the science of biogeometry. And although we've had you on the show before, some of our listeners don't know. So we'll ask you to make a brief introduction as to what it is. And then, as I understand, it's also becoming a little bit of a family dynasty. So,
and there's some new stuff that we're looking forward to talking about with you today.
Yes, absolutely.
So.
Okay, well, this year, actually, we're celebrating in September 45 years of biogeometry.
That's unbelievable. That's unbelievable. And I think we need to give you a little round of applause.
I thought it went back to the pyramids.
Well, we're going to celebrate twice. We'll do first celebration in end of September, toward the end of September, and the last week we'll do it in Montreal.
Yes.
And then we'll do a second celebration in Egypt. So there with the pyramids and the temples and all that.
Oh, wow.
I think you meant to say 7,045 years of biogeometry.
In Egypt, when we do it there, then it's 7,045 years of biogeometry. She's right.
Oh, my goodness.
It's only 45 years in Canada.
Wow.
45.
Does this mean that when you say that, because I know also you have a book that's entitled Back to the Future of Mankind.
Yes.
And there's the indication already that we're picking up previous knowledge and reintroducing it to the world. Have you added anything to that with biogeometry?
Well, you see, you cannot discover ancient secrets that can take us to a future unless you yourself discover them in your modern paradigm today. You can't just go and learn things from them. You have to have the key. You have to work yourself.
Yes.
You see, nothing comes like that as a present. You work yourself. Right. For example, we saw in papyrus in Egypt that are it's called the medical papyri that are from 3000 BC.
Yes.
You see, they have pictures of where they open the skull like that and they're working inside it. And the written brain operations, and they have all the surgical tools. But we said, that's impossible. That's maybe mythological. They're speaking about illumination and things like that. Then about 40 years ago, we were able to do the first brain operation. The moment we were able to do it, we go and look back and look at all those medical writings and reliefs, and all of a sudden we say, well, maybe they could be true. So we go to the museum, we x-ray the mummies and find that many mummies had brain operations, tumors removed and everything and all that.
Wow.
But you had to have the key here, because otherwise your knowledge is what actually forms a barrier. You know, and this is it. Knowledge is a good thing. It brings a lot of information, but it creates a barrier against some other type of information. So that's sort of a double-blade thing of knowledge. And for that, I'd go, the next step would be to how this applies to the worldview of biogeometry.
Yes.
Today, if you look at mainstream science or mainstream treatments and all that, and compare them with the new energetic methods, you would think they're two poles that are far apart. In reality, no. In reality, the walls of knowledge have kept them enclosed together in one paradigm, and that paradigm is working with the law of the opposites, always. Any problem is overactivity or underactivity, and we balance it with the opposite, and we read the proper dose. So the same paradigm, actually, that worked for mainstream science, when we started all the alternative or complementary things, we were imprisoned by that wall of that same paradigm. Now, in biogeometry, we break the wall. We go outside. And so that means outside time and space, outside the laws of duality. Because once you go outside, you understand that people have been outside all the time, only we were not aware. You see, well, I think here that if I have a problem and I need the opposite just to balance it, but it has to be a certain dosage, otherwise I'd have a problem in the opposite direction. Then I look and I find, but in ancient temples, you have sacred power spots where the temples were there, and you can go in and stay as much as you want there. How come this type of healing, this natural energy coming from the earth and all that,
you don't overdose?
You don't overdose. You can stay as much as you want. It goes beyond time and space. It doesn't follow the laws of duality. So you think, well, it was always there. We just never looked at it. But to me, it was natural because my background as an architect, I know exactly where I come from. I teach ancient history of architecture through monuments and things like that. So when I started studying the other things, I came with that open paradigm. Now, in that open paradigm, we have the physical body. Then you have your vitality, your emotional, your mental. All these are extensions, subtle energy extensions around your physical body. So instead of looking at it through the existing paradigm, where me and the environment and how to interact with it, I look at it as I am that environment. Because the emanations in that environment are my subtle energy. There are some levels in your energy that go kilometers and kilometers. And there are some very deep levels in the heart that resonate with the whole universe to the end of the universe. So in reality, your perception of your environment, even your own perception of the whole universe, is a projection from your brain and from your senses, and is projected outside, you see. That's why people didn't understand in ancient times when they said the earth is the center of the universe, and then we thought that no, Galileo and all that came and said no, it's the sun, the earth revolves around the sun. Well, he didn't say anything new, because 5000 BC they were sailing around the world, so they knew exactly where the sun was and where the pyramid was. That was not a problem. But why do we say we are the center of the universe? Because in perceived reality, the center of projection is you. And how you are affected by the angles and the motion of the spheres is the angles related to your position here. So from a subtle energy or esoteric point of view, your heart is the center of the universe. So you are the center of the universe.
Dr. Karim, I'm seeing a lot of information these days where even astrophysicists, when they look at the universe, are seeing that we really are at the center of the universe. So this idea that we're just a small, insignificant planet on the edge of a galaxy out in the middle of in nowhere is now we're coming back to the point of view, even from a scientific point of view, that we really are maybe
because
at the center of the universe.
Everything you are aware of is projected from your brain. See, this perceived reality is projected onto the absolute reality that has so many other dimensions. So the perceived reality must be something that's projected from somewhere, and this projector, you are the projector. So you are the center anyhow. So if you look at yourself, I am the environment. That's a new paradigm, a new worldview, and this is where biogeometry starts. Because if you look today, at all the existing sciences, if you look at homeopathy, if you look at acupuncture, if you look at all that, you don't take into consideration the environment. You're not looking at the person in front of you as he is the environment. You're looking at him as if he's a physical body. But if you take a person and do whatever you're diagnosing, if you're using acupuncture meridians or doing something, if you just, that person's facing that direction, if you place him in that direction, you already have a completely different diagnosis of the body, because he is the environment. He is not separate that you can diagnose him. Whatever direction you put him in, whatever you do, he is the environment. And that means biogeometry here is a new science that deals with the environment from the center, from that center of projection that is in the center of your heart or in the center of everything, and then you deal with the whole energetic levels, all the levels in the universe as one energetic unity, and you are part of it. So you are speaking about I am the environment. When you say I am the environment, that means that your five senses, whatever I see, whatever I hear and all that, there's an information exchange, but it goes both ways. So I am actually not only the environment, where I'm saying I am the environment, but I am actually an active transforming agent of all the subtle energy systems in that environment. So I hold a huge responsibility towards the evolution of that environment, because through my five senses I not only project it outside, but I'm also responsible for its proper development. That's a paradigm that's very important in biogeometry, how to project through a certain, in our case, through a certain design language, how to project harmony into that environment of which we are the center and of which we are responsible. And that's why biogeometry is actually not teachings, not doctrines, not all that. Biogeometry is action. That's why when we speak biogeometry is action, that means we combine science and spirituality here are one. Because to us, spirituality, any spiritual system in the world, we sum it in one word: excellence, excellence of action. So biogeometry, when we go into biogeometry, we are producing results for existing problems that cannot be solved otherwise. So biogeometry is very practical. Spirituality actually can be measured by the degree of excellence of action. That is a measure of spirituality. Irrelevant in an abstract way, in a very abstract way. And that is the worldview that biogeometry brings, that is separate from all existing worldviews, and that enables us, when I say I am the environment, then I can actually easily change it, because I am the environment. So I have the power to change it, and that's where we start off on our projects.
That's pretty comprehensive and profound, and empowering, and at the same time, as you say, we all have a responsibility. When you say excellence in action, are you referring to, let's say, action of the heart? Do you know what I mean? Versus
yes.
not what you do.
No, it's a very simple thing. Your mind is only aware about 1% of absolute reality. Our senses capture just very few ranges. And so our perceived reality is about 1% of the total. Now, how can you bring harmony or balance in the perceived reality if your mind is only aware of 1%? So you cannot actually bring harmony into 99% because you don't perceive it. But unfortunately, that 99% that you do not perceive is what is running. All the laws that govern your body, that govern your life, are in the 99% you do not perceive, the powers of nature, the laws of nature. So how can I produce excellence of action? That means ultimate harmony. That means the action I do is not in perfect balance in my perceived reality, that would mean much. Balance with the 1%. No, I want it to be in perfect balance with the 99% also. So that means I need the laws from those 99% to come in to whatever action I do, so that those doors or those laws that come in through the doors I open enter into my action. So my action is actually in harmony and in total balance with all other even dimensions in the future, in the past, or anywhere that exists in the universe. Only when you bring all that balance into your everyday actions, this is true spirituality. Spirituality is excellence of actions. That means every action you do, when you raise your hand like that, you are not doing it. It's the whole universe who's doing it with you. And when you reach that step where every action is the universe doing it with you, then I call that excellence of action, you see. And that, to me, is actually the essence behind all beliefs, behind all religion, behind everything. That's the essence, that we reach excellence of action, excellence of interaction. Once that becomes part of your life, that means you are the universe.
That sounds like a great idea, right? But how do we, there must be a method or a process or something where we can, open ourselves up to that 99% somehow,
Yes.
but without
You
being
see,
aware of it.
If it was difficult,
Yeah.
it wouldn't be the true universal laws working through us,
So it's
because
easy.
universality is something very easy. Universality is a lot of fun, is a lot of pleasure, that is universality. So we teach you in biogeometry very simple design principles. When you apply those design principles to any activity, the laws of the design principles, very, very simple. We do them in our courses. In a week, we already change your paradigm. And then in a second week, we already show you advanced applications, you see. So the whole thing is, in biogeometry, is you tell me what you said is very nice. Now show me. See, show me. I have this problem, or I have that problem, or I have a whole city here where people are complaining from electrosensitivity, or I have animals here who are being fed antibiotics and chemicals and all that, and they're disturbing our health, or I have lots of mental disabilities and have things like that, and we cannot cope with them. Now, we want solutions to that. So instead of telling me about how I am the universe, show me if I'm the universe, if I'm that great, and each one of us is. It's just a change of awareness. Well, show me how I can apply it to solve my everyday problems that are going to bring humanity down the drain, because the age of information, for example, with all the electromagnetic radiation, will just end life on Earth.
And that's just one
problem
that can end life on Earth, right?
like one of them, yes. So biogeometry here, so you tell me, show me, give me a solution for this, give me a solution for that. And that's where we come in. We come in with this new paradigm, because we know the old one didn't work. We come with this new paradigm where you are responsible for the evolution of the universe. And if that means you are the universe, save it and you save yourself. Destroy. You are not free anymore to say, I can do what I want. You see, I can do what I want. What do you care? If I do this, if I eat unhealthy, if I do the wrong thing, what does that have to do with you? Freedom is being able to do what I want. That's not freedom. That's being a prisoner of your own point of view. And that's not freedom. Freedom is being able to move out and move along the laws of universal harmony. That's real freedom. And in biogeometry, we give you the tools. I mean, we've spent so many years putting it together and then simplifying it. At the end, you say, I have this problem. I need the tools to go and solve it. And we've shown I'll let my daughters give you an idea about the different projects, and we can show you that for us, solving all those unsolvable problems, this is what biogeometry really is. It's this new paradigm. And I'm sure that many new sciences will follow along that paradigm.
Yes, so I actually had a list of questions for you today, but you've already addressed so many of them. So biogeometry then goes beyond, the whole notion of excellence in action, and that being a beautiful definition for spirituality, actually, that I think everybody can relate to in an empowering way. We could think that comes all from the inside, following the heart, being aligned, following your higher guidance. But now we see, no, there are things in the environment that affect our ability, possibly even to do that, because things in our environment have been created outside of the laws of harmony of nature.
But you see, now, what we said now could be a very spiritual introduction, but in reality, biogeometry is, when I say the word excellence, that means spirituality is excellence, I mean it, because the word excellence means action. And action is taking you beyond belief. It's taking you into everyday life. So now you're putting yourself into science, into technology, because that's what's your action today is your modern technology, science, and all that. So when I say the ultimate spiritual presence of everything is excellence, that means this excellence brings the spiritual at the core of your scientific being and at the core of your the products of modern technology, you see. So we can't say anymore that it's spiritual or it is scientific, because in ancient civilizations they didn't have that. They didn't divide, they didn't have those separations.
Yeah, all right.
If you went to an ancient Egyptian and went there, and he lives in total harmony with the laws of nature, and you come and tell him he's living in that total harmony, you come and speak about health, he'll look at you, you come and ask him about his belief. What's your religion? Do you believe in this, in that? But he is one with the universe, living in total harmony, and every action he does is a manifestation of all those laws together. And you come and ask him questions like that, he wouldn't even know, because he's on the inside. You know, and that's what or where we want to go.
Okay.
And that's how we can solve all our problems. That's how we can transform all our scientific achievements into something for humanity.
Yeah. So updating the sciences, bringing in new sciences that take into consideration the laws of harmony of nature, whereas so far we've been sidestepping them, really.
You don't need to bring in new sciences.
Trying to dominating them.
No, you don't need to bring new sciences.
Yeah.
All you have to do is just sort of have a wider look at what you're doing. Let's say you're developing your science, like I said in the beginning, you have the walls of knowledge. Don't think I know it all and that's the way it should be done, you know. No, open those doors and say once and for all, I'm opening to a new paradigm now. The old paradigm where the human being is to be kept out of the formula, so that the formula is called objective and called scientific and called measurable. I move out and say the human being should be part of the formula. Because what is the true definition of science? Science is observation. That's science. You observe a phenomena that repeats itself, you observe it, observe the steps leading to it. That is science. So when an animal goes and he's sick and goes to drink from a well, and then he goes to that well and then he feels healthy at the end, he goes again, and then the rest of the herd comes again. If from the first time he goes and drinks and he's not better, he won't come again. So even the animals, before the dawn of humanity, they were scientists, because science is observation. So means the observer is what makes the phenomena with the steps scientific, is through the presence of an observer. You see? So how come you need the observer to say this is scientific phenomena, and then you develop science after a few thousand years, and you say, I want the observer outside the formula. I'm going to build a scientific world, but I don't want the human being in it. And now we're paying the price for that. We want him back in.
Well, even science with the quantum theories, that's
it's starting to see that.
Is that the observer affected the outcome
it's starting
of
to see
the experiment. So we do need to bring it back. And as you're saying, the observer is the environment anyway.
Yeah,
right?
And he is science. What is science? Science is the observer. It's the one you took out of science. Actually,
So let's get practical with this.
Okay.
Now, because it sounds very optimistic that we can, anybody who's concerned about global problems.
Yes.
You know, what's nuclear weapons, pollution, chemtrails, whatever, can actually have an impact.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to rely on everybody else climbing on board.
No.
But how do we do that?
Well, I'll tell you something. First of all, if you are the environment, and that's the new paradigm, not like the old paradigm where I interact with the environment. No, I am the environment. And that takes you into a whole new level of responsibility. So first of all, like you just said now, by living the proper life on every level, from the vitality, physical vitality, emotional, mental, and all that, each person is actually actively changing the environment by living properly on all those levels. But then from there, we go into some collective things. For example, we see that one of the problems we have now is problems with what we eat. What we eat is actually killing us. Today you have so many epidemics around the world, and so many things are rising every day in percentage, and that's mostly because of all the synthetic things that we put in our food, in our drinks, all. So this is one of the fields where we say we have to go in there. Another one is the profilation of electromagnetic radiation. This is another place where we have to go in there to protect people. And so we have so many products from the individual level, from the smallest level to the biggest level in doing that. In Canada, for example, I'll let my daughter tell you about this. We've been actually producing, for the first time in the world, antibiotic and chemical-free chicken for the past 3 years in Quebec. And when I say completely chemical-free antibiotic, everybody says I'm doing antibiotic chicken and things like that, but they are either speaking of they took away the human antibiotics, or they took away the preventive antibiotics but not the therapeutic ones, or they keep the vaccinations, or none is really antibiotic. But what we say is everybody stay out, whatever, call it what you call it, we don't want it, you see. Just leave the chicken alone. We will leave them alone. We will just put some biogeometry shapes and enhance the energy of life there, and watch what you get. And Doreya has been responsible for that project for the past 3 years, and she's successfully producing it in Quebec, and we hope that it expands in other places. But we've been doing it for 3 years now.
No, that sounds great. It sounds like an easy job because you just have to leave the chicken alone, right?
Yeah.
But one of the big concerns is because we have a lot of people to feed, right? People are concerned about yields of agricultural, and so I'm interested, like, how are the yields on these chickens and the cost, right?
Well, what separates this from, because when we talked about, there are people producing antibiotic-free chicken, there are people producing, but we're talking about a commercial scale. So actually this was at a commercial scale, and we are, what was really neat is we worked with this company. It was actually a biogeometry student who felt the same way that you did. And basically what he said is he went to this company and he basically badgered them for 6 months until they said, fine, we'll do research with this company. So we produce chickens without antibiotics with them, or chemicals or vaccinations with them for about 6 months, and that was supposed to be the end of the research. But they, being a commercial company in Quebec and seeing that we could keep the same weight, if not make it better, keep the same mortality rate, they offered us actually a commercial contract to take on their farms and produce these chickens without antibiotics. So we could do the same thing with agriculture. And the reason actually that this student was able to get this research is in Egypt. This was actually in Egypt. You can do your master's or your PhD in biogeometry.
And that's phenomenal. That's quite an accomplishment.
Yeah, we're accepted academically.
Yeah.
Very strongly in Egypt. Yeah.
That's such an important point to make, because I think many people might not be aware of how far the world has evolved, or at least the world that you're involved in, that you've created and contributed to. This is now way beyond. It's not dabbling. It's scientific. It's proven. There's research. It's accredited. There's a PhD program.
Yeah, and we have patents even in North America. We have patents in our work. We have done some masters also in European universities. So it's slowly catching up academically.
Yeah, and you find that in the 45 years, has there been a big change in terms of the acceptance? Do you have to fight less to get in to make the point known?
No, I want to tell you one nice thing about what really helped biogeometry. From the first day I went publicly with biogeometry, a sort of a love affair started between me and the media. And when this happens, this is something God-given, it's something you can't, it's not something you can promote or you can market. It just, you see, we never did any marketing at all. It's just one day somebody came and said, let's make a program about biogeometry. And the moment it was aired on TV, a kind of love affair started. And in the 45 years, I haven't seen one program where somebody came in the program, or a phone call or something, who attacked or who belittled or something like that. It was always something very, very positive. Now, I was in Egypt now after an absence of 3 years. I went down there, and I can't tell you, it's the same love affair with the media. It's as if, I had left my wife for 3 years and I'm coming back home, and I have to be every day here and there on media and all that, because it's like, really, where have you been? It's like somebody belonging to them. And I think that
it shows
the
a
media,
hunger.
and the media has a huge responsibility in the world of really helping and promoting the right things.
Yeah. Now, what's interesting about that, I'm thinking, because here we are, we're talking about using principles of biogeometry to increase chicken yields, and you're saying it can be used in other agriculture. And Dr. Karim, I'm guessing, correct me if I'm wrong, but you could apply it to economic problems, to social problems, to environmental problems. Do you want to just talk a little bit about that? Because we've got a lot of those problems everywhere.
You see, one of the things that we noticed when we did our first regional project in Switzerland with electrosmog, the first one was in Hamburg, in St. Gallen, the second was in Hirschberg, in Appenzell. And we noticed not only did, let's say, the health problems with the animals, with the human beings and all that, all those things got better. Migrating birds came back, wild animals came back to the forest and all that. But then there was something strange that we hadn't anticipated, and that was the psychic mental change that happened to those people when we applied biogeometry. First of all, for example, when the people went in with the questionnaires, it was an independent institution run by a medical doctor from the parliament, and Dr. Yvonne Gili, she went with her medical team, and then the people would say, I have other complaints that I want to write that are not in your questions. So they would say, for example, I'm not enjoying life. just a very simple statement. I'm not enjoying my life. I don't have economical problems. My work is perfect. Everything is perfect. I'm just not enjoying it. And they would love, they would tell him, is the government's role to make you happy? He said, exactly. Exactly. You should make me happy. You are doing something to me. Or another person says, I don't have the will anymore. I can't face problems. I don't have the will to start new things. Or aggressiveness. I can't stand my neighbor. It was a whole way. The whole society was very, very negative and very aggressive. Now, when we installed the biogeometry solution, a change happened in those people. First of all, they started being peaceful with each other, collaborating in doing things. The person who said, I don't enjoy life, all of a sudden, a week later, says, oh, now I'm enjoying life. That was before, before they came to us. Now we're enjoying life. Now I have the will for project. Or some of them were getting divorced after 50 years of marriage or things like that, old people, and you come to them and they say, no, all that's finished. No, we're back to the old days now. And so we noticed a very big change in society. We tried that here in one project here in Toronto. There was a big commercial business here, and they came to us and said that we have lots of problems. The employees are always against each other. Sick leaves are increasing and all that. It's affecting our economy. Mm-hmm. So we went and made that as a research project for the students. And we had a course here, and they went, I think that was in 2007, something like that. We went there. We did biogeometry solutions. And a few days later, the people came and said, I don't know what you did. Everything is working to the better now. Our production is getting better just because the people can stand each other. I mean, there were 2 directors there sitting face to face, their desks like that, who come at 8 o'clock in the morning till 5 o'clock in the evening, and they don't speak to each other at all. If one of them wants something, he writes on a memo, and it was that bad.
Mm-hmm.
And so imagine now doing that to a whole society. You could really change the people's outlook towards their life. Well, if you take the aggressiveness out.
We actually had a thesis recently with they tested the serotonin levels on depressed mice.
Wow.
Using a biogeometry strip. Mm-hmm. And then they found that they tested it compared to 2 of the most common drugs used in Egypt for raising serotonin levels, and they found that biogeometry works as well as the drugs, and in most cases it was actually scoring a bit higher.
So
That's
you can restore
yeah.
brain chemicals without actually resulting to any chemical drugs. And that means not only people who have depression, I mean, people have depression or any other dependency, you could give them an environment where you restore the chemical activity in the brain. And that was actually these kind of projects, postgraduate projects, doctor's degrees and all that, they gave me, let's say, the weapons that when I was asked to enter into the special needs projects and all that, I had a lot of research behind me. Maybe because they saw the research, they came to me. But we'll get to that when we get to that project. Yeah.
So, just for anybody who doesn't know, can you, in a sentence, describe what these biogeometry tools are that you're applying? Laila?
Well, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Because we didn't explain that biogeometry is a science of shape.
Yes.
So, and we live in this environment full of shapes, and we don't understand it. It's this language of design around us. So with biogeometry, we sort of discover the blueprint of shapes and how to connect back to natural shapes. So the tools, everything that we use, are specifically designed shapes that give out certain energy qualities that affect the environment. So
We all
whether
have
Okay.
those shapes on us.
That's lovely.
I got
Exactly.
one on me right
Okay.
now.
Oh, yes.
Right?
This one.
Yes, you have it, yes.
Exactly.
yes,
And that's the one for
this is the electromagnetic.
yeah.
So it's protection
Yeah.
from electromagnetic
Yeah.
fields. So there's shapes that are
You got one too.
well, I've got a bunch, I've got like a whole
Yeah.
set here.
Yeah.
And each one of those works. So there's what we call biosignatures. And these are the energy patterns related to the organs of the body. So how the energy flows in each organ in certain patterns. And so when you have the correct pattern, you can resonate and it strengthens the original patterns in the body. So that's kind of how it works. So it's a whole science of specifically scientifically designed shapes that we tried so many times, did so many tests to see how they affect everything in the environment and the human being on so many levels. And that's how, when you get it right, you get the results. So you're, with all this bombarding of so many new energies and electromagnetic fields, you're sort of trying to bring back harmony into the environment through shapes. So
Okay,
every single
thank you,
project,
Anna. Yeah,
different shapes
that's
are
wonderful.
used.
So it can be applied. I mean, it's limitless. You're applying it to
Everything.
human beings directly with
Yes.
the biosignatures, plants, animals, buildings.
Yes, imagine the
Furniture,
chicken,
everything now.
actually. The chicks, when the newly born chicks are put in that commercial environment, there is a huge emotional, mental stress on the chick from the moment it's put in there until the 38 days of the cycle. It's just one huge emotional stress. So imagine if we go in there and take that off, take that, then they change. It's not only you're eating antibiotic-free chicken. Actually, this chicken now has this kind of energy, this harmonizing energy, that if you eat it, it's going to raise your immunity. It's going to help restore the chemicals in the brain, restore the body just by eating the healthy food. That's the way it was intended. That's sort of restoring your connection with the earth again. Because
but it's using this new science.
it's
applying this new science.
biogeometry is actually the forming process of nature. We're applying the laws from the forming process of nature. That means the laws that bring life into whatever you're doing. Because to us, nothing is dead. Everything is alive. But sometimes life stagnates in things, like tap water, for example, comes, it goes through the pipes and all that, and instead of being the source of life, it becomes a stale thing that doesn't affect you and sometimes even harms you. Now, with biogeometry, we put some attachments, let's say, on the pipes and things like that, and all of a sudden, we restore the life force in the water itself. So the idea about biogeometry is using those biogeometry shapes, or using design in general, to restore a harmonized energy of life into whatever we do. And you know the word design, there is nothing around you where you cannot apply some form of design. Everything is design. So actually, biogeometry has a place everywhere. And here, when it was in Egypt now, and they came and asked me to build those huge centers for mental disabilities. Now, they came to me as an architect, and I'm an architect, and I designed the centers. But then there was this other step. But you have shown through some postgraduate work and thesis that shape can actually alter the chemical balance in the brain. Could that help those children? We already had a few doctors' degrees where we showed it, they were applied to such existing centers. So we designed a project that would actually help the children who were in there to get a normal perception and enabling them to interact with society so that we can reintegrate them backwards. And then once we designed the project, the second step, which was very important, is now people will not believe that the architecture shape of a space can change the brain of people. You cross the wall.
It's a hard sell.
It's a hard sell. So you know what I had to do?
Yeah.
I went and said, okay, I'm not waiting till I build the project. I have to do something before I even go out to the media with the project. So I actually built one of those pavilions. I built it in a wooden structure like that, like pergola. I built that pavilion in the garden of our office. And I would tell people, look, let's not speak about it. Here is a pavilion. Come and sit there. And then you get people who go in there, and one lady came in there, and she had this thing. Most of those people have a reduced field of perception, like a claustrophobic things, So if something happens, if you're aware of this, and something happens just outside it, here outside, it gives you stress because you don't know, it really is very claustrophobic like that. So imagine a person who's lived all his life that way, all of a sudden he goes into a space and this thing opens, and for the first time in their life, they see the world the way we see it. I've seen the look on the parents and on the children when they went in there. You could go in tears for the first time. And some children went in there for about 1.5 hours, and the effect stayed with them for 24 hours when they went back home. And we have lots of testimonials and things like that already in the pavilion. So I told my office there that our center in Egypt should be open to all those with special needs. And they can come in our garden at whatever time they want and all that. They'll be served whatever they need to drink or eat or something, and they can bring the children to play in there or stay in there and experience it themselves. So we've been doing that. And then some interesting idea came out of it, and I'm very excited about this new idea, because one person said, yes, but it will take 2 years till you build those centers. And what if they're not built? Anything, those big projects, sometimes they're built, sometimes not. We need that today. So I told him, well, I don't know. He said, well, can you make this sort of pavilion, can you make it smaller so I can build it inside my bedroom or something like this? And then the other guy said, no, I have a better idea. Why don't you make a miniature pavilion, and instead of letting it only radiate to the inside, you can make it radiate inside and outside, and make it like a lampshade.
Oh, that's
where
brilliant.
everybody who has a problem can put it there, where I can put it in my office. In a studio like this, why not hang it up there, because you have all this electromagnetic radiation here. So everybody needs that, because none of us has a sort of a proper level of neurotransmitters and all that in the brain. We're all much below normal with all this modern life we're living. So this is the last thing we're researching at the moment, is this lampshade. With those projects, when I saw those children coming into our pavilion, I really felt this is a good vocation. It gave me the feeling, although I'm the founder of biogeometry and did so many things, I'm very proud of that, but when I saw those children, I looked at them and said, maybe all those 70 plus years that were given to me are just for those children. It's just for that
beautiful.
day. This is the feeling I felt when I saw the children go under there and change.
Is this the special needs project you were alluding to?
That's the special needs project.
That's just wonderful.
We're going to do them. The government wants to do them all over Egypt, in 6 places in Egypt. Now, you could use this type of projects for the elderly.
Yeah.
The elderly here, they help you all those years, and then at the end, you don't help them back. So what if such a center where the elderly are put back there, where they regain their health, where they start, instead of entering into all those brain problems, because most of them will have them, that our elderly start seeing the world differently. They start having less tension inside them. We can do spas like that. We can do lots of things like that. So this is the last thing I've been working on lately in Egypt, yeah.
That's very exciting. That's very exciting. And so that answers the other question, too, about scalability. Biogeometry, it seems like it's just applicable on every level, from wearing a pendant to, applying a biosignature on the body or drawing it to buildings, to furniture. So
just whole cities.
Whole cities.
Maybe they can. The girls can give you some ideas. Doreya runs our North American Canadian company. Laila is she's the design. She runs the design department, but she's also responsible for all the products and manufacturing all over the world. So she's constantly traveling to manufacturers and things like that to make sure we're getting the products and all that. So they can tell you about all what they have and what they will have soon. You know, they have lots down the up their
Let's
sleeves.
do that. I just
Please.
want to give a reminder. It's about 10 after 1 now, so we
Okay.
want to make sure we talk about everything that you
that
want
you
to
want
talk
to talk about. Yeah.
Well, I can be quick anyway, but we basically covered that we can apply biogeometry to anything. So the biosignatures that are related to the body, this is where you get the products that have to be something that you wear, and that's why we thought jewelry seems to be the most suitable thing. So that's on a personal level. And then you have the home. And when it comes to the home, it's endless, because now we figured instead of just putting a shape that works, why not make it into a table or make it into a chair? So it's not just a random shape that just is put there. No, it's actually usable in the house, so it has a function to it. And then from that level, of course, we have architecture that you can apply biogeometry in the houses and all the way up to large-scale projects.
And
when
it's
you work.
accessible to anybody, right? Let's say if somebody doesn't have the resources to have a home, construct it using these design principles, or, there's something that any individual can do to their home. Those are the kinds of tools you have available that people, even who haven't studied biogeometry, can use them?
Well, we've done things, we're working on things. We're trying to build like this whole commercial aspect of things. So we've done furniture, we're opening it up commercially now. And we're even trying to work on more like curtains and bed sheets and coasters and trays and all kinds of things that you can just have in the house so it works on every level of everything that you do. In the courses that we teach, of course, you learn how to you learn certain design principles that you can do some yourself. We teach how you can make certain corrections to the home, things on to the electromagnetic fields in the house and the earth radiation and all the geopathic stress, all of this. So you learn methods of how to correct things in the courses yourself, and we teach you to be able to measure as well, since you kind of need to see it yourself. You can't just trust us like this, you have to see it, feel it. And so we teach that. For those who do not know how to apply it or do not take the course, we've created a home kit that you can put in the house and you can install it. It's simple. Of course, it doesn't give the total solution that if you're working on a house from the beginning. So if you're working on the drawings of the house before you start the actual plans of the house, that would be the strongest effect that you would have in the environment and so on. Of course, if you can work on a large scale, then you're even getting a bigger effect on the whole city. Or that's when we say we work on a city, that's an ultimate solution, because you're working on everything together. So we have solutions for the home. We do work with we obviously architects, and we work with architects on projects. So it's available. And we have practitioners also, that level of practitioners where people can go and work on your house and figure out where the problems are and install things to correct the house.
And I suppose one can find the practitioners by going to your website, is that right?
We have the website, thebiogeometry.com, and it lists the practitioners that are certified.
The thing to know about biogeometry is all the products. We do have products, but it's not our main goal. All the products come out of a research project. So what happened? The pendant that we showed, that was a hepatitis C research project in Egypt, and when it was announced on TV, it was using what we called, it was similar to this pendant that I have, but it was like a square pendant. And when that was announced on TV, we weren't selling anything at that time, but people came and they were like, well, what can we do? So we provided it through the government. But if you go on our website, if you just scroll to the bottom, you'll find a link that just says download our biosignatures emitter, and that's something you can try for free.
That's just something you download?
It's a paper that you download, and it has these biosignature shapes on each side. And what you do is you put your picture in the middle, and every day you just need to, you hang it up, so don't put it in a closed drawer, don't put something on it, and you just swipe it in case there's any dust on it. And it's designed in a way to connect your energy system through the picture to the biosignature. So it won't have the same effect as the pendant, but for example, it's really neat for pets. So we have all our pets on there. It works well.
And we have them wearing stuff too.
Our dog is wearing
Yeah, that's all wearing. Yeah.
Oh, you're kidding.
Yes.
But it works really well. I mean, we have a lot of people. If you work with, we work with some animal shelters, so it's a good solution for them. We don't have. We actually do have cows in Quebec where we're working with cows and raising leukocyte counts. They are all wearing the pendant.
If a pet or an animal wears such a pendant, would it help, the fleas to stay away or whatever? Does it have any effect like that, or?
Actually, my dog's been wearing the pendant for how long now? For 10 years, 12 years, or even more. She had a tumor and it went away. So that was one of the miraculous things that happened with her, which was not. It was miraculous because it wasn't intended. Like I just had her wear the pendant because I was so scared. And also, I've never put any of the flea medicine on her, and she's a big dog.
Because, like plants and animals, once you raise or balance the immune system, there's a self-protective mechanism like odors and things that come out that do the proper protection.
So it wasn't researched scientifically, but it just works with her.
Well, we were involved. It's not really the same thing, but in agriculture, we were involved in the parasite research project.
Yeah.
And that worked.
Biogeometry with plants to. If you applied biogeometry from the start, then the plants wouldn't get parasites.
Yeah, they don't have the weaknesses aren't allowed to develop. So the life form has its inherent strength and ability to heal itself.
We did that in Holland for 3 years with the Parasite Center in the University of Wageningen.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So, not a lot of time left, but is there anything else that we want to talk about today?
Well,
maybe while you're here
if you're
too.
In biogeometry, it won't end. We can stay tomorrow.
Well, you can stay as long as you like, actually, because we're in no rush. If you. But you're here in Toronto for the Total Health Show, right?
Yeah, we're here for Total Health Show, yes.
Yes, the Total Health Show, yes.
Which starts this, I think it opens at 4 p.m.?
4 p.m.
Yeah. And then Saturday and Sunday. And what is your schedule there? You have a booth, first of all.
Yeah, we have a booth at the Health Show. And what?
We have a workshop on Sunday at 6 p.m. But I would say to really be, the time would be on the website because off the top of my head,
I think it is 6 to 9.
I think it's 6 to 9.
On Sunday?
On Sunday.
Oh, okay.
Who can attend?
Anybody can attend. It's open to the public. It's I think you have to purchase a ticket, but it's once you have a ticket you can attend. And we have a talk tomorrow at 3 p.m.
Yeah.
Okay. And the workshop, is it to teach the fundamental basics? So anybody who might want to learn about biogeometry, at least get an introduction to it?
The workshop is going to teach you a bit about, we have a certain set of energy quality measurement tools that can allow you to find certain locations of geopathic stress in your home, and as well as to assess different supplements or anything on your energy system. So we're going to introduce those.
Okay, that's wonderful.
It's a sort of a scientific aspect of radiesthesia, of dowsing, where we have developed certain instruments with dials on them, and you can adjust them to the different harmonics, or waves. When they move like this, they have the angle of incidence of the wave, and every time you change the amplitude, you change the angle of incidence, and so the quality affects the shape of the wave, affects the quality it projects. So we actually use dials to detect the angle of that quality. So it's a very simple, very scientific method and very effective. And lately, we were asked to provide those tools for sale to all dowsing and radiesthesia communities around the world, because they wanted this very precise tool. So we said okay, and we put a very detailed manual with it, so that others who are not studying biogeometry want to use it for their whatever the type of detection they're doing, they can use our instruments. So we've put this instrument out. Our instructors all over North America had asked us for that, and then we told them okay. And this is the instruments we're going to produce and explain to people, because it puts the basis of future developments in our research are based on this basic instruments that has attachments that can grow endlessly. So this is what we're going to introduce a bit, this new paradigm and this new way of measurements. And these instruments give you the possibility of this spiritual connection, of seeing this spiritual connection in everything that is not available in any other instruments that you use outside biogeometry. You don't have methods of measuring such levels of harmony. And that's what we're going to introduce to people who might be interested in using them. And maybe one day they'll want to study biogeometry, but otherwise they can use them in their own disciplines.
I think that's very exciting that you've opened it up like this, that anybody can kind of come. And they don't have to know how to dowse already to attend the workshop on Sunday, do they?
No.
They can,
They can come. You know, we are also putting one thing out in public. We remember we did once, maybe not last year, the year before, we did a whole show on biosignatures, remember?
Yes.
Now, then I had told you I was working on the book on biosignatures, and now at last it should be out in September.
That's
and
exciting.
There we have gone further. The reason we delayed the book is we made this book like a bit of an encyclopedia into how to understand energies, how to deal with them, and how to understand the energy of shape and the laws of similarities and all that through history.
Right.
And so the book is very comprehensive introduction, and then it goes into biosignatures. It explains the biogeometry and biosignatures and how to use them. So everybody can buy this book, can have it at home, and you don't need to study biogeometry. If you have the book at hand, it's like a very good. We don't speak about treatment, because I explained to you our paradigm is I am the environment. So it's an environment, a sort of environment harmonizing method. It's harmonizing the exchange between your body organs and the environment. And so it's a sort of a preventive thing. And imagine it's also a very affordable medicine for poor communities. I'm not saying that you should treat with it, but I'm saying that you can use it as a preventive thing. And, you know, we say prevention will make you not need treatment. So, yeah, if you use it effectively in prevention, you wouldn't need to go for treatment.
And I know you can't make any claims, but I think I can be free to say that I've tried them, and they're very powerful.
No, you see, it's the body has its secrets. The divine doctor in you has capabilities that we can't even dream of. So just by harmonizing the energy flow in your system and harmonizing how you fit into your environment, how your environment interacts with you, just by doing that, some inner doctor, or I could say the whole universe, starts flowing in you. And then some unexpected healings can occur. So you can tell us about your experience, but that's why I wanted to put it in that context, that there is a higher thing. So that's why I say in biogeometry, I always say that to students in biogeometry, I tell them, look, okay, I have a PhD, I have so many degrees, but the highest degree I can give you in biogeometry is the degree of a doorman. We open the door and let the universal harmony come in. And that's what we do in biogeometry. So now you can tell us about your experience after I put it in the right context.
Well, you know, I had a burn on my finger once, and I applied the biosignature for a burn, and the stinging instantly stopped. Instantly.
I think Laila actually had Laila when she was.
I was about 8 years old, actually.
Really?
Yeah, that was the first time we tried burns. It's one of the things that we have very, very good success in. Because I was actually boiling water, and no claims.
Yeah, exactly.
But the boiler...
The boiler exploded.
Oh,
The whole thing, yeah.
Wow.
So I got burned.
And she was a child, she was there, and she got boiling water. The thermostat went wrong, and she had
complete burns.
a complete burn, her frontal part like that, and they said she'll have those scars for life.
Wow.
And luckily...
luckily we didn't...
We did it, and...
I didn't do any plastic surgery. The healing process
and
was...
nothing
That's amazing.
But you know, one thing she doesn't like about that medallion, you know, in summer,
Yes.
Yeah.
we go to the beach house, and they go and stay in the sun till they come back like tomatoes. You know, they're so red.
Hoping
all
to
of
get a
them
tan.
coming. So I see them coming in, and
It's considered a
I
burn.
have 4 children, you know, the girls and 2 boys. And now I imagine, now we're going to have a night, you know, with temperature and all things, and I might have to call a doctor, go to the hospital. But I tell them stay 1 hour maximum. They stay 4 or 5 hours, and then they come 4 tomatoes coming into the house. I have a gel marker beside me, you know. They come each. I put the biosignature, next. I put the biosignature.
The burns biosignature. And
So by the time we get to the evening and all that, the whole thing recedes a bit. But what they don't like is that next day there's no tan, because
Back to
tan
white
is
again.
a burn. So they make it on purpose, you know, that when they go to the beach, they take away all the medallions and everything
just to get a little bit of
just
a
to
tan.
get the tan. And I see them coming without the medallions. If they kept the medallions, they wouldn't burn anyhow. So I see them coming without the medallions.
They'll burn,
I'm
but they'll
waiting
go
with
back
my
to normal
marker,
right
you know,
away.
Yeah.
there. And they say, "No, Daddy, don't draw on me." Come on, each one of you. So it's funny in summer.
So the burns works very well. The burns by signature,
Yeah.
it's a very
Yeah.
successful one for us.
And I've actually purchased some of the non-toxic markers,
Yeah.
and I wanted to now actually draw some of the biosignatures on my body for areas that I think need centering.
You don't have to put it on the areas. You can put it anywhere.
Anywhere.
Oh, really?
Anywhere.
Yeah.
Oh.
You'll
Yeah, you
find
know,
us
you
all
can't
that.
take your pen and go
Yeah,
here, down there, and down there. No,
Exactly,
no. You just draw it anywhere, and it will work. But the most important thing is you have to know the starting point.
Yes.
That's very, very delicate.
Yes.
Because it's like a tube that is shaping energy.
Yes.
And once you draw it, energy will always go into the bisignature from the starting point. It will never go from the other side. Now, if you start at the other side, you're reshaping the energy. It's like a musical symphony or something. You're putting it upside down. So in the book that's coming up, we have a little arrow showing how to draw it. And I explained to you even how to hold the pen or pencil in your hand.
I'm so glad you mentioned that.
When you draw it, yes,
Yeah,
because I
yeah.
see you don't want it zagging like
Yes.
that. You want it free flowing. And
Yes.
when I look at young children, even grown-ups today, the way they hold their pens, most of them are they're choking the pen or grasping it in such a way that there's no really, when you write, there's no flow of energy. Writing should become a healing exercise, because you know, when you write, you go left, right, left. So if you make a free energy flow, you can do that. With the bisignature, That's a very important thing, how you hold your engraver or how you hold your pen and the point to start.
I'm so glad you mentioned that. I wanted to ask you if the book was going to have the little arrows, but I didn't know if it was too technical a question.
No, it has it actually, and
Okay,
there is.
good.
Doreya will
the
tell you
secrets.
there's also with the book. There's a website. Can you tell them 2 words about the website?
good.
Oh,
The
we have
biosignature
a
website.
biosignatures application. So it's
Oh.
like those emitters that I spoke about, the
Yeah.
emitter, paper emitter that you can get. Well, some people might want, for example, the hepatitis C research project that I spoke about, there was the liver biosignature repeated because that was important for that project. So we have actually an application where you can get a base emitter and then add on it whatever biosignatures that you feel you need,
Wow,
and then create your own personalized emitter.
that's
And
amazing.
coming out with
Yes.
the book as
Okay, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
What's the website? Where that?
It's not out yet. It's going to be out with the book.
With the book.
In September?
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
you'll find
in
the link
September
on-
it
Okay.
will be
on
All
our
right.
website. So on biogeometry.com, we'll definitely
Okay.
have a link on there if you go to Biosignature.
Okay, good. And then finally, and I know you have to go, but a question I really wanted to ask, but I think you may have answered it, was, after this illustrious 45 years of achievements, and thank you so much for sticking with it for so long for all of us. And setting such a great example for others to follow in your footsteps, to follow their visions, even if they're, they're very pioneering and so far outside of the mainstream. I was going to ask you, after all this, what would you want to see the final kind of a crowning glory? But it seems you may have found it with these special needs. I'm not sure.
No, those special needs is, let's say, the most important project I've done till now. But looking at the future, my most important achievements or projects, I have 4 of them.
Oh, okay.
2 girls
Oh!
and 2 boys. No, because
Yeah.
really, people live their life thinking of work, thinking of that, my achievement here, my achievement, and they don't really know that their biggest achievement is actually the forming process of their own children. That's the biggest achievement you can do in your life. And I'm thankful now that I can leave biogeometry in the hands of my children, and I know they're capable. They're capable because they were born into it. It's different when somebody is born into a paradigm. You don't have to explain anything to them. They've lived it, the understanding. Nothing for them is called a miracle. There's a saying, we don't believe in miracles, we depend on them.
Right.
That's my 4 children, yes.
Yeah.
And so I'm happy now to be able to put the future of biogeometry in their hands, and they can take it in the future. It gives me a sort of an inner satisfaction. And so the next few years, I'd like to sort of concentrate on writing books,
That's wonderful.
putting everything on paper while they take the helm of biogeometry.
That's wonderful.
Yes.
That's great news. Great news. We're looking forward to your books, and congratulations to you two.
Thank you.
And Saeed, who couldn't join us today.
Yes.
I haven't met your 4th child. I know he's living on the West Coast.
He's on the West Coast. He has a tennis academy,
A tennis academy.
and it's actually a life academy where people, you bring your young people there. He takes care of the schooling and their tennis, and then after that he will take the responsibility of putting them into universities with scholarships. So, and they'll be getting money studying and all that, so he takes care of their whole future by giving them a good base in tennis. And he is doing a lot because he's a finance specialist background. Both my children, the boys, are like that, so he works with us a lot on the marketing of biogeometry and things like that.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, and Saeed is taking care of all the practitioner department of people going and doing things in the houses. So each one of them is really taking one part of biogeometry into the future.
And so you're taking over the education as well, the training courses and
That's
whatnot.
Doreya's domain. My wife Rawia was doing the education for all those years.
Wow.
But
Yeah,
now,
she's amazing too.
Yeah,
I
but
have
now
to
it's
say.
time
Yeah.
that Doreya takes this part.
And Doreya and Laila, and I don't know if you can speak for Saeed as well, are you all planning on staying in Canada?
We never know where we are. I mean, we have a company. Our headquarters is in Canada, in Montreal. So
I've been here for 12 years now.
yeah.
Oh, wonderful.
So I think
Well,
we're here to stay.
Good.
Between here and Egypt. So
Yeah,
let's say
good.
a bit here, a bit there.
Okay.
Well,
All
it's
right.
great to have you guys in Toronto, at least for the weekend, so people will get a chance to see you.
By
during
now,
the show.
by now, this is like home. Every time I come to Toronto, it's always passing by here. So
Exactly. And you're always welcome.
Well, we would love to be a research subject for those lampshades, right? And we can.
we'll do
can have
something
them all
like
over the
that.
place.
Yeah, we'll do something like that next time when we come.
Oh, that
We'll
sounds
come with
wonderful.
and put something and make your research subjects.
That would
yeah.
be so awesome.
Oh, that
and
would
I'm
be
really
amazing.
looking forward to reading that book when it comes out in September as well.
Yes, and
Yeah.
and the workshop this Sunday is wonderful, and your talk at 4 p.m. on Saturday, I think
Yeah.
it is, at the Total Health Show in your booth.
Okay.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well,
Thank you.
thank
Yeah,
you,
thank you
thank
so
you
much.
for hosting us.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
So I think that's it for Liquid Lunch today, Rose.
I think that's it. This was a special show
It
for
was-
very special
It
guests.
was really good. So
Yes.
thanks for
Yeah,
helping to set it all up.
Oh, you're so welcome. It was an honor, always an honor to have you on, to invite you on. Yeah.
It's our honor being with you.
All right, bye
Thank you.
everybody. We'll see you next time right here on liquidlunch.thatchannel.com.
Bye.